Welcome to the Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey podcast. I'm your host, Jamie, and I am so thrilled that you are here with us this week. Every week I invite a girlfriend to join me on the show, and we chat about the big things in life, the little things in life, and everything in between. Guys, today's show is sponsored by Prep Dish, and Prep Dish is a healthy, subscription-based meal planning service. So it's a meal planning service, and it's healthy, and it's subscription-based. Each week, you're going to receive an email from Prep Dish. It's going to contain a grocery list plus instructions for prepping your meals ahead of time. So like today's your grocery trip. You go and you get all of your groceries, and then you come home and you spend 2 to 3 hours. You prep everything, and then you have meals ready for the rest of the week. This is like every woman's dream to the what's for dinner question that you have around 4:30 every day. So Prep Dish is offering you listeners of the Happy Hour a special rate of $4 for the first month. That's $1 a week for the meal plan. Go to prepdish.com/happy hour, and you're going to find the discount there. Use the code happy hour. You're going to get $4 for the first month. Guys, today you're listening to episode number 82, and today my guest is Shay Shull, and you may know Shay online from Mix and Match Mama. She's got a huge blog. She has a huge Instagram, and so she just does. I really appreciate how she represents her family well, and she has tons of great recipes and talks about cooking. Anyhow, today was our first time to meet, and by the end of the conversation, I literally felt like I had just met with a friend at Starbucks and spent an hour chatting. So you're going to love it. We talk about balancing online work. She shares her infertility story, which I was really, really moved by, and we talk about adoption. My favorite thing that I learned about her today is that she works as a travel agent, which I think what an amazing job to be a travel agent and make everyone's dreams come true. You're going to love it, guys. Here is my guest, Shay. Hey, Shay, welcome to the Happy Hour.
Hi, Jamie. It's good to be here.
I am so happy. Like I was telling you a few minutes ago, I've had several listeners request to have you on. So there are some really happy people listening right now.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yay. Okay, so your kind of online name is Mix and Match Mama.
That's right.
For someone who doesn't know, like myself, where that came from, what does that mean? Where's that from?
Well, when I started my food blog, the whole concept was to take standard recipes that you probably make all the time, like tacos and sloppy joes, and instead of making it the same way you always do over and over again, I tweak it. I mix and match the ingredients to make pretty much the same recipe, but it's going to taste a little different so your family thinks you actually made them something different that night. So that's where it came from. It came from mixing and matching recipes.
I see. So if people don't know, you have a handful of cookbooks out. You're a blogger. I just found out that you schedule travel. You're like a travel agent type person. That's amazing.
I own a travel agency. Yep, that's right.
Which I have 1,000 questions that I'd like to ask you about that, which I already texted you one of them. Okay, so you just started blogging, I'm thinking, about recipes. Is that right?
Yeah, I started blogging just in general about 8 years ago about my life. And then about 4 years ago, I started blogging recipes on top of that.
And then it just went off from there.
That's right.
Do you cook every night for your family?
5 nights a week, not on Friday and Saturday nights, but the rest of the week I do.
And you love it. Obviously, because
I do.
you're okay. So it's just, has this always been a passion of yours?
Yes. I was laughing with my parents over the weekend because when I was in second grade, I asked to go to cooking camp over the summer. So
I love it.
I have been, I've had a passion for food and cooking since I was little.
Did your mom cook every night when you were growing up?
Growing up, yeah, she did. I had a busy working mom, but she managed to put dinner on the table every night.
Isn't that crazy? My mom did as well. She worked, both my parents worked full time, outside of the house. And we still would eat meals every night, which I work from home. And I really struggle with this cooking aspect of life. And so I look back, I'm like, Mom, you were a champ. You got home at 5 and then made dinner for everybody.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. And then my grandma was here recently, my dad's mom. That's a whole different world. But she also worked full time, and she would not just put a meal on. They were eating fried chicken at night, chicken fried steak, homemade mashed. Just the works every night.
Feast.
Yes. It's crazy. You may not know this about me, but people listening to the show know I do not enjoy cooking very much. And the reason I don't enjoy cooking is just because I'm not very good at it, And so it's not this passion. But my husband loves to cook.
Oh, bonus.
Bonus, right?
Yes.
And so all the time he loves to cook. But I'll tell you where we have to make kind of sacrifices in our marriage is sometimes I'm I assume he's going to cook every night. But, he has a job as well.
Yep.
Okay. And so he doesn't really want to do that every day either. So I have to kind of learn when is a good time for me to step in with my crock pot recipes that I have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Does your husband cook?
He loves to grill. I mean, yes, he does cook, but he excels at grilling. He does breakfast really well. So, yeah, especially in the summer, he cooks dinner a lot of nights around here.
See, I love that. Just knowing what works well for them. Okay, so you're married to your husband for, how long have I been married?
12 years.
12 years. Did y'all do anything fun on 10?
I'm trying to think.
Right?
I know. We went to Hawaii. We took our kids, but we went to Hawaii on our 10th anniversary. So,
yeah. Fun. You travel with your kids, and I want to talk about that later because I want to talk about traveling with kids because that can be scary for some people. But you do that well. Okay, so you're married to your husband 12 years. You have 3 kids. How old are they?
Kensington, our oldest daughter, is 7. Smith is 6, and Ashby is 3.
3. Okay, I don't know why I thought your daughter was older. She just kind of looks a little older, maybe. She's like this old. Is she like an old soul or no?
Oh my gosh, most definitely she is.
That's so funny that I thought that just from seeing her pictures.
Yeah, she's in 1st grade. She's 7.
Aw, precious. Okay, so I want to talk to you first. Is you it's just happened. But with a lot of hard work, you've created this online presence that you incorporate your family in. How have you had to where are the boundaries for you and how has that been and all kinds of things that come with that? How do you kind of walk through those waters with talking about your kids, but yet also keeping things personal?
I've had to learn as I go.
Okay.
I started my blog 8 years ago before I had kids. And so then... And, nobody read it. And so to me, my mother-in-law read it, my mom read it.
Right.
So I was putting a lot of pictures up there of my kids and a lot of personal information, and I still do. But over the years, I've kind of had to navigate my own waters and learn where my boundaries are. And I'm pretty open, but I'm definitely pretty private about certain things. And I just kind of had to, trial and error, figure it out.
Yeah. Have you had, for me, I remember when I went through the same kind of stages that you're talking about. I've been blogging for a long time as well, and there was a stage where I didn't use my kids' names. And then I was well, I've already used them before, so why am I, what's wrong? I say that to people as well, because people will come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I know you, and just from Instagram or my podcast or whatever. Yeah. And I found that with doing the work that you and I do is that we do let people into our world a lot, but there are still so many things that are just private, And I think that is where you just have to find that healthy balance. And I like how you said you just kind of had to figure that out as you went, trial and error.
Yeah, and that's what I've had to do. And I think that the older I get, the older my kids get, the more private I am becoming. But I don't think it comes across as me becoming more private. But, I try to talk maybe about more things now that are not my kids. So that my brand isn't just strictly my children,
Yeah. I've kind of figured that out as well. My oldest is 12. And so when they were little, I had so much blogging material, about, parenting and all that kind of stuff. And as they get older, it just doesn't seem like it's anybody else's business. The conversations that my 12-year-old and I have, which is hard, I'm finding. I don't know what you think about this. It's hard for me because I feel like I'm a couple stages ahead of even say for you, I have a 12-year-old, you have a 7-year-old. So I feel like there's wisdom that could be poured out, but it's kind of hard because it's personal as well. Yes. The blogging is such a difficult world, isn't it?
It is. It is a blessing and it's wonderful, but you have to be really intentional about what you put out there.
That's so true. Okay, let's talk about your kids since we're talking about kids.
I'd love to.
Okay, I know that your youngest you adopted, but I want to go back a little bit further to before you had your oldest child, Kensington. You told me that you walked through some stages, some infertility. What did that look like for you and your husband?
Well, my husband and I are planners. And so we had it all mapped out how it was going to work. We moved, we bought a house, we started a business, we were going to have kids, and in that order. And when we set out to start a family, it just didn't work. And so we went down the road of infertility. I did, first a little bit of drugs and then a lot of drugs. And then we did our first IUI and I became pregnant and then I miscarried at 9.5 weeks. And then after that, we did 5 more IUIs. And
can you tell me what IUI is? I'm sorry.
It's intrauterine insemination.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, and there was just not a lot of explanation. I mean, the doctors had theories, but there was nothing just concrete that they could tell me. So we just kind of kept doing the same thing, hoping it would stick one of those times. And so after about 2 years, I did my sixth IUI failed right before Christmas, and I was just done. My husband had been injecting me with infertility drugs for a long time. I was so hyped up on hormones. I was just so over it. And so I just told him, I said, you know what, let's enjoy the holidays. I'm tired of taking pills. I'm tired of thinking about this. And in January, we will start IVF, and we'll just worry about it then. And so we went in January and signed all the paperwork for IVF, paid my deposit for IVF.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Oh, yeah.
IVF, is it like the next step after?
It's the next step, yeah. And,
okay.
And I would say most people don't do 6 IUIs like I did, but because there wasn't a concrete reason why we couldn't get pregnant, it's less expensive to do IUI.
Right.
I mean, it's less expensive to do 1 IUI.
Yeah.
By the time you do 6 IUIs, it's a different story.
Right.
Oh, so in vitro is IVF, and it's more invasive. So we went and signed and paid for it, and they called in my prescriptions for the IVF drugs. And when I went to the pharmacy, she said, you need to take a pregnancy test before you take these drugs as a precaution. So I went back to work. I took a pregnancy test, and it was positive. So
and how many pregnancy tests have you taken before?
Hundreds,
right?
Thousands,
and so you're just like
4
working.
billion.
I'm just going to be on this stick and then go back with life.
I'm at my office.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
People have these special moments when they find out. I'm like, I was on my lunch break. It was not special. It was shocking, but not special.
Okay, so you said you had miscarried before, though. Is that correct?
That's right. I did.
So how many positive pregnancy tests had you had previous to this one?
Just, what do you mean?
Had you, this pregnancy test that found out positive.
Yeah.
I know you had a miscarriage before, so that would have been a positive pregnancy.
And that was it.
That was it. Okay.
That was it.
So this was super exciting.
It was super and scary at the same time. Yeah, because I don't anymore, but I used to run marathons. And when I had my miscarriage at that point, it had been over a year of infertility struggles. I felt like I was at mile 25 of a marathon, and somebody told me I had to turn around and start back at mile 1. It was just that you're so defeated. You feel like, oh my gosh, I'm almost at the end. And then you realize, oh no, now I'm back to square one. I'm back at that first mile. I haven't even started yet. And it's just heart-wrenching. That's so out of your hands, and you have no control. Yeah. And I'm somebody that I like to have control, and I like to plan out things. And so God really used that time to shape me and show me that His ways are greater, and that I really have no control over this little life I lead.
I mean, isn't that just it's just the story of our lives? It's just like this one foot in front of the other struggle, and God saying, hey, I'm in control. Don't worry. Okay, so I want to hear what happens next, but I want to go back a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you and Andrew are first starting this, because I know that there's people listening that are like, this is my life right now.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that helped you guys stay connected? Because I can only imagine the extra stress that brings in on your marriage. I mean, not even just the stress of all these hormones and pills, but I mean, we're not going to talk about this at all, but just to be frank, just the act of making a baby, I'm sure becomes so it's your job, And so how did you and Andrew stay connected and not let this this struggle kind of separate you guys?
Well, and it's consuming, especially I think for women. It's my whole life revolved around my calendar and my cycle, and it's very consuming. For us, one thing we did is we continued to travel, and for us, that's always been something that's brought us close together and really strengthened our marriage. Just getting away, exploring this world, and the distractions of home we leave behind. That's one thing. Another thing is, we really we jumped into a church that we love, and we met friends, and really tried to plug ourselves in so that we were busy, because I for one, find if I have a lot of free time, my mind can wander, and that's when I get the most anxious. So I really think we both tried to stay busy doing things on our own, and then definitely doing things together. Yeah, absolutely.
So what were some of the best things that your girlfriends did during this time, and what were some of the hardest things that you had to walk through during this?
Yeah, some of the best things my girlfriends did is they let me talk about it. And I think sometimes when you're going through something like this, people don't know what to say, and they feel like, oh, you don't want to talk about it. But I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about that baby that I lost. I wanted to talk about how much it sucks to have your husband give you 4 injections in the stomach a day. I wanted to talk about it. And my friends were great because they let me talk about it. They let me vent about it. they didn't tell me it was going to be okay. They just told me they were praying for me and that they loved me. And really, that's all that they can do. And that meant the world to me.
What were some hard things?
In my Sunday school class, in our little Sunday school class alone, 11 of my friends got pregnant while I was trying to get pregnant. And I could spout off all 11 names right now. I mean, that's how much it, like, in my heart, I would, every Sunday, I'd be like, oh, good, there's someone else that she's pregnant. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, great, look. You know, and I'm happy for my friends. I was so, because that's the thing, when you're trying to have a baby, your whole world's about babies, so you want to talk about babies. And I think some people shy from, you know, they shy away from talking to you about babies when you're trying to have a baby because they think it's sensitive, but your whole world is babies.
Yeah.
You want to talk about babies. So, so that was hard, just because I was in a season in life where, you know, everybody my age was in their late 20s, early 30s. They were all having babies. Yeah. Everybody but me, I felt like.
It's kind of like when we were waiting on our kids to come home from Haiti, and then every time someone would bring their kid home, I'd be so happy. You know, like, you're so happy for them, but you're like, why isn't my kid coming home? Like, this is just, I want this to be my kid coming home, even though you really are happy.
You are, but you want it to be your turn, too.
Exactly. Okay, so then you're in your office, and you take this pregnancy test, and it's positive. I mean, you call Andrew immediately, or were you just like, what the heck? I mean...
No, we worked together. And at the time, so I just walked into his office, and I laughed because both times, for Kensington and then my next pregnancy, both times I told him, he looked so confused.
Like, what?
We didn't get to have one of those special moments. They were both moments of confusion and I don't understand. So yeah, I mean, I just walked in there and I told him, and he just was very like, what? What do you mean? What? Like, you know.
This can't be right. We just signed up to do, you know.
Yeah, IVF.
Yeah.
Like, we wrote a check. Like, what?
Yeah. Oh, and so then, I mean, I've had 2 miscarriages before, and other people that have miscarriages, they understand this next question. Was there this like, did fear take over, or did you just kind of start walking through this pregnancy with, like, faith? Like, where were you? Because I think people either go one way, like, okay, I'm not going to let fear rule because I know that the road I've walked before, but this is a new road. Or some people are just like, I'm so afraid because I know what I just went through. Where were you on that?
You know, really and truly, I am not a worrier. And there are great things about not being a worrier, and then there are bad things.
Yeah.
I probably should worry when the kids are running around the house with scissors.
Right.
But I'm really not a worrier. I'm very much I'm going to appreciate every day that I have because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. And so I really just enjoyed every day of it because I knew that if that pregnancy had ended early, I would have wished I would have enjoyed it more. So I really try to live that every day.
Yeah. And so you find out you're pregnant, and then you don't need to do the IVF anymore. Then you start going to your doctor. And how was your pregnancy?
Horrible, miserable. I hated every minute of it.
And the one thing you've wanted for years, you're like, I hate it because you were so sick.
Yeah, I was so sick. And I mean...
And everyone's like, you should enjoy the sickness.
And I really tried to enjoy it, you know, and I really felt so blessed and just overwhelmed with emotion. After 2 years, I was so just blessed. But at the same time, it's so hard to be excited when you are just throwing up all the time.
You're like, how do I find joy in vomiting? Like, really, people...
It's hard. And then you kind of feel like, well, this is just mean, Lord. What are you doing to me? Yeah.
Oh.
So it wasn't great. I didn't enjoy it. I hate that I say that, but it's the truth. So, yeah.
What's your encouragement? I mean, with infertility, I did not struggle with this in my life, but I have plenty of friends that have, and I've talked to people on the show that have. And so a lot of people will look at your story and they're like, yeah, she struggled for 2 years, but then look what she got pregnant, you know? And so I know that it's just not everyone's reality of what it's going to look like. What's your encouragement to a woman that's in the throes of this? It's like she's living this right now. What would you say to her if you could just sit down with her?
Well, it sounds so cliche, but I really, in my heart, feel like it's the truth. I just think one day you'll look back and you will see how God used this in your life. And I'm not saying you're going to look back later and that you will have given birth to children on your own, but I'm just saying I think you will look back and see how God's hand was in this and how he grew you, strengthened you, matured you, blessed you, even during this time. But it's hard to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, so what I usually tell women is, this sucks, and I'm praying for you, because I know it sucks, and I'm so sorry for you, and I love you, and I'm praying for you. I mean, that's really all you can say. But I really feel like God, he's doing something in your life.
That's good. And I think that when you say it that way, a lot of times when we want to give someone advice, we're either like too full of truth or too full of like false hopes, you know? And so when you said like that God is going to do something here, but this sucks and it may not end in a child that you're going to birth. And I'm like, that's really good because it gives there's hope in there. There's grace in there. There's truth. And there's just like reality of, I understand how bad this feels.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had your little girl.
I did.
Precious little baby. And then you were a planner. So what was your next plan?
Well, I was just going to enjoy having that little girl, and I thought I wasn't going to be greedy. You know, I waited so long to get one kid, and I was super happy and blessed with that one kid, but God has just a funny sense of humor, and when she was about 7 months old, I became pregnant with another kid. So, back to back. I know. So, God's funny like that. He doesn't just like to bless you. Sometimes he likes to hit you over the head with a blessing.
Okay, so which pregnancy test was more like crazy? The one in your office or the 7 month later?
I think the one in my office probably. The 7 month later, I woke up that morning and I did not even move. I woke up, my eyes opened, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm about to throw up everywhere. I am so pregnant. And
you just
that
knew.
feeling. I had that feeling for 9 months. And when I woke up that morning, it was back. And it didn't go away for like another 9 months.
You were so sick the second time as well?
Yes, I was, it works out well because my little girl was only like 8, 9, 10 months old. So she didn't realize mom was just laying there all day.
True.
So it worked out okay. But, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Shay. Some people have like an awful sickness like one time and then like the next one is like different, but you had it both.
Both. Both. I never felt good, which I feel like I'm like being all whiny about that now. But it was not fun.
Yeah. So there came your little boy, Smith.
Yes.
Oh, and they're so close. So where does that put them?
16 months and 3 days.
16 months. Oh, yeah, because I saw your Instagram this morning, which I giggled at, because you had your littlest one on there, and you had said that your daughter said it's not fair that she gets so much, like, alone time with you.
Yes.
And you said she must have forgotten about the 16-month and 3 days that she was alone.
I mean,
and you were, like, vomiting everywhere.
I know. That's the sad part. Like, 9 months of that.
Yeah.
I was sick the whole time, and I laid on the floor. Oh. She had a good 7 months with me. It's a shame she doesn't remember it.
That's a shame, right? Those were, like, the best months of your alone time with Mom ever. That's hilarious. Okay, so then you had your 2 kids, and then your last child, your sweet little Ashby, you guys adopted from China. So how did adoption come into your world?
So we had Smith in January of 2010, and in November of that year, my husband and I are both volunteering at church, but in 2 different services. And so I went to worship by myself, and it was Orphan Sunday, which is a nationally recognized one Sunday in November. Every year we recognize orphan care and adoption. And I really just felt like when I was sitting in that service that God was just speaking right to me, saying, you're going to adopt an orphan. Like, this is happening. You're going to be a mom to a child that doesn't have a mom. And I felt like I was just being hit over the head that day.
Was this a foreign thought, or had you ever entertained this?
Oh, it was completely foreign. I'd always, before I would have told you, like, of course I have a heart for orphans.
Right.
Yeah, but I never in a million years thought that I should be one to, like, mother an orphan. Right. I never thought that.
Mm-hmm. And so then you're sitting in the service, and then does your husband Andrew go to the same service next or something? Yeah,
so he went to the same service next, and I went on to teach the 3-year-olds, and then we met up at the car later. And I got in the car and I was like, oh my gosh, what'd you think about that service? Wasn't it amazing? I totally feel that we were called to adopt. And he was like, no.
This is like so many times I hear the same story where the wife is like, I'm in. And the husband's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. He was like, our daughter just turned 2 and we have a 11-month-old. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, because the same year that he was born. Yeah. You're like in the trenches of like babyhood. Yeah. Yes. Toddlers.
He was not compelled at all. And he had sat through the same service, which for me, I just couldn't imagine how anyone could have sat through that service and not wanted to adopt. But
isn't that funny how God works? Because literally, I love how you just said, you were in the same service as I was. What? Did the Holy Spirit not speak to you like he did to me?
I'm so confused.
Right.
So, like, what's going on?
And so then what happened? I mean, how does that lead to you guys to China?
Well, so after that, I did what, a lot of wives do. I continued to talk about it, even though he didn't want to.
I love that,
for months and months. And so after, about spring, after a couple of months, he said, you know what? I cannot talk about this anymore. He's like, I do not feel called to do this. We have 2 kids. I don't think this is for me. But he said, I will promise you that if we could stop talking about it, I will pray about it every day for a year. He said, I will just in my own quiet time, I will pray about this. And he said, I'm going to pray that God changes one in our hearts to be the same as the other person.
I love it.
So I committed to pray the same thing. And
so you were cool with that. You were like, okay, this is a great plan.
I felt like, you know what, at least he's praying about it.
There
he
you go.
could have just shut me down, but he said he would pray, and I knew he's a man of his word, so I took him up on that. Yeah.
And so then tell me what happens.
So then about 9 months into this praying about it thing.
Okay, so I do have to ask, I'm sorry for interrupting you again. Did you really stop talking about it?
Yeah, no, we did. Like, we really stopped talking about it.
Were you still like online looking up stuff?
Oh, yeah. I was already naming the baby. Oh, yeah. I already picked up nursery furniture. Oh, totally.
Of course.
Because
that's how us moms are. Yep.
Totally. My heart hadn't been changed, but I was praying, and but I wasn't going to, I hate to use the word nag, but I wasn't going to nag him about it.
For sure, yeah.
And then one night we were driving home from my parents' house, and I needed an onion. And so we pulled up in front of the grocery store, and I ran in just to get one onion. That's it. And come back out. So that took me all of like 2 minutes. And by the time I got back out to the car, my husband was sitting in the front seat, and he was crying. And I was like, oh my gosh. And
what happened?
He said, he was like, we are supposed to adopt an orphan. And I was like, why? And he said that he had watched this dad walk out of the grocery store and like cross in front of his car with his 3 kids. And the dad stopped in the middle of the parking lot and got on to the third kid. And the little girl just kind of held her head low and just, you know, she looked so defeated and sad. And he goes, it just hit me like, how many kids are out there right now that are defeated and sad every day of their life? You know, how many kids just have no hope and they have no joy? And he was like, who are we to say that we can't, you know, parent one of these kids? So from there, we set off to pray about, because we didn't know, do we need a boy? Do we need a girl? What country do we need to adopt from? I mean, there's so many things to think about. What age? So we set off to pray about that. And over time, God really put the little girls in China on our heart. And that's where we started looking.
So, but there had to have been something else happen in that car. I mean, he's crying, telling you this. Are you like excited, or are you calm, or are you just like, okay, well, we got to call an adoption agency on Monday? I mean, how did you react to this?
Here's the deal. Every time a child has been announced in this family, somebody's shocked. So he was shocked with the first 2. And I was so, even though I knew it was on my heart, I was just shocked. I was really shocked. And then I was a little scared too, because I mean, let's be honest, when things are going really, really well with the kids that you have, when you add another one, whether it be biological or an adopt, it's scary, because you think, is this totally going to upset the balance of what we have going?
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that.
For sure. Yeah, I say that as well. Okay, so then y'all started walking down the road, and by this time, I mean, your son was 1, I'm thinking?
Well, we started praying about, Andrew and I are big on, we're going to pray everything through. So at that point, we started praying about what kind of child we were supposed to adopt. And that process took about a year. So you have to fast forward to June of 2013. And that is when we contacted our adoption agency and just decided, like, we got to do this. Now's the time. And at that point, my kids were 3 and 4.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah. I love how you said that you guys prayed about it so much. I feel like sometimes, people don't really pray about it. They just say, like, I'm just going in. And I'll admit, when Aaron and I stepped into the world of adoption, we just kind of jumped in in a lot of ways. We just kind of jumped in. But I have kind of a similar story with you, as in after we had 2 kids, just like you guys. And I was like, I'm ready. Like, we never talked about having any more biological children. And I was like, I'm ready to adopt. And Aaron was like, no way. Nope. We have our 2 kids. Life is good. Kind of like Andrew was like, why would we add to this? We ain't got a good thing going, you know? And I did the same thing that you guys did. Just began to pray, like, God, just, you got to bring us together. And it was Aaron who came to me and was like, okay, I'm ready. And I was so shocked, just like you. I was like, what? Yeah. I know this is what I've been wanting, but did I hear what you just said right? Like, what? Can you say it again? It's so crazy. So you decided on China. And then, I know from being in the adoption world a couple of years ago, China was a long wait. Were you guys in on that, or? You
hear different things. They told us that they were estimating between about 9 and 24 months. So, and our process took 18 months and 3 days. Okay. So it, in the middle of it felt like a long wait, but on this side of it, it went by fast.
Yeah. And how old was your daughter when she came home?
She was 2.5.
2.5. Okay. And so how long has she been home?
She's been home almost 15 months.
Okay. And so how's it been? I mean, I know that's like a
Amazing.
loaded, huge question, but.
No. And I always used to make excuses. I would say it's been amazing, but I'm sure it'll get bad any day now.
You're just going to own it.
Yeah. Well, one of my friends who has also adopted a little girl from China, she was like, no, it's just an amazing experience. And just say that. It has really been amazing. She's not perfect. We're not perfect. But goodness, you can just tell that God made this perfect for us. You know, His hand was in this. She was meant to be my daughter. She was meant to be part of our family. And it's just been such a miracle and a blessing.
Well, she is so super cute. I mean,
Thank you.
All of your kids are, you know, they're just, and I love watching your family from the online world. And so super excited for you guys. Okay, guys, we're going to get right back. But first, I want to tell you about another sponsor for the show, and that is Lily Jade. You've heard me talk about them before because they were on our Christmas episode. Well, Lily Jade bags, it's such an incredible value. Normally, a full grain leather premium tote would retail for hundreds more, but thanks to their unique e-commerce model, Lily Jade's able to get their gorgeous pieces into even more women's hands. Some of their most popular styles can be worn 3 different ways. And you know us women like things that can be worn 3 different ways. Number 1, you can wear it over the shoulder or a crossbody or as a backpack. Every single one of their bags comes with a removable, washable 16-pocket organizer to protect your investment and to organize all your gear. Ladies, if you could see the inside of my purse right now, it would be astonishing. I need this 16-piece thing in every single one of my purses. I have a Lily Jade bag. It's my computer bag. I love it. It's the best bag I've ever traveled with. These are also diaper bags, but you know I'm way past the diaper stage, but I still love my Lily Jade bag. Lily Jade is not just a great bag company either. The heart of Lily Jade is to give back, supporting all women and especially moms. Every month, for example, Lily Jade gives a bag away to a deserving adoptive mom. I love that so much. And they're also running monthly campaigns on Instagram to celebrate the everyday stories of amazing women. Follow them on Instagram. It's at Lily Jade Co. That's LilyJadeco. And then you're going to join in and you're going to be able to share your story with them as well. I highly recommend you follow them on Instagram because they post beautiful pictures anyways, but then you can see more of their bags. So guys, check out their Instagram, but also go check out their website. It's lily-jade.com. So it's LILY-jade.com. This would make a perfect Mother's Day gift too for anyone in your life. All right, Lily Jade, thanks for sponsoring the happy hour. Well, let's move into traveling then, because I want to ask you about this. You guys, you and your husband, you've mentioned this already, have been traveling for a long time together. And now you take your kids. Did you ever think about, like, I guess my question is, a lot of people, like my husband and I, we travel, but there's a lot of times we don't take our kids with us. Do you guys do a good mixture of both, or do you like it better with everybody together?
We do sometimes do trips just us. I would say like once a year, just Andrew and myself will do something. Last year we went to Mexico. The year before that, I think we went to Vegas. I mean, so we'll go sometimes just the two of us, but we really like taking our kids.
Okay, so how was it traveling internationally?
I mean, we've done it so much with our kiddos, and they're pros at it. Really and truly, they are. Yeah.
Okay, so what makes it easy for you guys? I mean, okay, so practice. You said. So what are some things that you've like figured out that like, okay, these are 3 things, or not 3 things, just whatever. But what have you learned along the way with traveling internationally with kids? And your kids are young. I mean, 7 and under.
Yeah. Well, they've been to my 2 oldest kids have been to 17 countries.
That is crazy, Shay.
Well, here's the thing. We learned
17 countries?
We learned this really fast. You know, if your kid's under 2, they fly for free.
Oh, hello.
So,
true.
Hello. So we were like 2 crazy people on an international flight holding 2 infants in our lap because, they were free.
Because you had 2 kids under 2.
Yeah, totally. So for a year. And so we started, I mean, like once you take 2 kids under 2 on a long flight, anything after that is a piece of cake.
You've got it down, yeah.
Yeah. So my tip number 1, start under the worst case scenario, and then after that it'll seem really easy to you.
That's hilarious. That's like a life tip right there. Yeah.
Make it horrible the first time, and then after that it'll seem like a walk in the park.
Nowhere to go but up. Okay, so 17 countries. I mean, that, even if they were young, I mean, that means that you and your husband have been doing a lot of traveling with them. A lot of kids in this world won't see 17 states before they're 18.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really great. Is this a value that was instilled in you from your parents, or is this something that you and Andrew kind of did?
No, my parents, I grew up traveling with my family. and from a very, very young age. And it was just always important, especially to my dad, for us to not just learn about the world, but to see the world. And he wanted us not just to read things in textbooks, but to actually go and visit it and touch it and see it with our own eyes. And when I married Andrew, he had not been anywhere. And I think he'd only been on maybe like just a handful of flights. Just
You're
very,
like, get ready, baby. Yeah. We're going.
And I told him, I said, this is always going to be important to me. And I would rather live in a smaller house and just save as much money as we can and put it aside. And because that's important to me. Mm-hmm. And it quickly became important to him. It did not take long for the travel bug to bite him.
That's awesome. I have a girlfriend who is like the way you described your dad is how I've heard her describe how she wants to raise her kids. And she's taken her kids on international trips with her as well. And they, like you just said, they were like babies, so they were free. And she's like, I just put them in the wrap and we just went, and their sleep schedule's already crazy. So they adjusted to the time zone, changed better than she did. And she just went with it. So what's the best place? Okay, I'm thinking, when you said you went to Mexico, where do y'all go? Because I have a favorite place I was going to see.
We have only been to Mexico together once, which was our first time to go together. Ah. Yeah, we went to the Riviera Maya. We had a nice time.
Oh, okay. So this is where you need to go.
Tell me.
And Aaron always tells me to quit telling people about this place because it's kind of this quaint little place. It's called Tulum.
Oh, I've heard about it. My friend Tori goes there all the time.
Does she love it?
Oh, my gosh. She just was there last week. Yes.
It's literally my favorite place to go in Mexico, and we do like Airbnb. I mean, we don't stay in the resorts, and we don't stay like we just find an Airbnb on the beach, and it's this quaint little, like, it almost feels European to me a little bit. We love it. Absolutely love it.
I have heard so many wonderful things. I'm going to need to add that to my list.
Add it to your list. Add it to your list. Where's the best place you've been? That's a loaded question as well, but...
Well, I mean, China obviously was the best place we've ever been
because
we got to come home with little Ashby. So yes, so that was. But you know what? I am I'm a history buff, and so I like to be able to take my kids places. Like they saw the Mona Lisa over the summer, and I like they've been to concentration camps. For them to see that, it's one thing to hear about it, but to actually like touch the walls and the nail scratchings and to see it, that's, that they'll remember that forever. So
that's awesome. Aaron and I always tell people, because we're big on like getting away. Like we're going to do like a staycation in a couple of weeks here in Austin, just the two of us. And we do this. We kind of think about it the same way that you guys do with traveling. Is that sometimes you just we haven't traveled like you guys have, but just in our little travels, like you just have to kind of like sacrifice some things to do things that are more valuable to you. Like we've never had cable. Like that seems weird, but we just don't have cable because then we'd rather, go out to eat to a nice restaurant instead of that. So just where are your values? And so I love that you're just saying anyone can do it. You just got to know where your values are.
Yeah, that's right. You have to think in advance too. We think about trips several years in advance because we start saving for them that far away. So yeah,
that's good to hear too. So you're just kind of like, hey, it doesn't seem so far off if you plan 2 years for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me, you do travel agency? What is this?
Well, I've always been a traveler and I've always blogged about it. And then once my traffic on my blog started picking up, people were emailing me left and right saying, help me with this vacation. Can you plan this vacation? And so I went and got certified and got an IATA number, and I opened a actual legit travel agency.
That is so crazy. Like you just have your own travel agency. So I saw on your blog that you only take a certain amount of trips. Tell me, how do you actually plan the entire trip for them? Like what do you offer?
I do. And I'm doing it differently. I started doing it differently in August. It's working out really well for me. Prior to August, I would take a certain number of trips a month. So let's just say I was taking 10, okay?
Okay.
I would be like 3 Disney World, a Hawaii, 2 Mexico, 2 Europe. I mean, it was like I was everywhere.
Right.
I was everywhere. My brain was all over the world. And then I would tell everybody else, no, like, I'm sorry, I'm booked for the month. I'm sorry. So I was saying no to all these people. Well, I realized I was saying no to a lot of Walt Disney World and Disney Cruise Line, because I think the age of the people that are reading my blog, like that's where they are. They are moms. They've got young kids. They're going to Disney World. And so I thought, I'm going to try and just for new clients, just accept Walt Disney World and Disney Cruise Line, because I bet I can get, let's say 10 a month of just that. And then my brain can just be there. Yeah. And so that worked. And then, so I'm saying for existing clients, I'll plan their vacation anywhere in the world. But for new clients, I'm just doing, for now, Disney World and Disney Cruise Line because it allows my brain to like stay there.
Yeah.
And it makes it better for me as a travel agent. It makes it better for me as a mom. I'm not so spread thin. My brain's not fried. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it seems to be working.
I know. I followed you on your little Disney cruise, and it got my mind wondering, like, is this something that my kids would enjoy? And I think I even asked you, like, my oldest is 12. Is this, did we miss the boat on this?
No, you get on the boat, Jamie.
Get on the Disney boat.
Get on the boat. No, my kids had a blast. And I think the older they get, even the more fun it'll be for them.
Okay. So this is something that I mentioned it to Aaron the other day, and honestly, his reaction was like, "That sounds like my worst nightmare is a Disney cruise."
Okay, I'm gonna be very honest. It sounded like my worst nightmare too.
And you loved it?
And yes, and my husband was like, I mean, I pretty much had to drag him on there. But I had so many clients over the years, and a lot of these clients were friends of mine from church and stuff that wanted me to send them on a Disney cruise. And they could not say enough nice things about it, great things about it. So I was like, I'm going to
try it out.
I'm going to try it, even though I had always said I wouldn't, and I loved it. I loved it.
So it's not just travel agent recommendations, actually personal, you liked it.
I absolutely loved it. I would have said if I didn't like it. And I absolutely, we had the best time. I thought it was going to be Disney World on a boat.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, I thought like Mickey Mouse would have like thrown up all over the ship and that's what it would have been like. But it was just a nice cruise line. It was just really nice. And you kind of had to look hard for the Disney stuff. Really, you did.
That's encouraging because have y'all cruised on other lines?
We have. And I'm very particular about what lines I cruise on, and I held it to the same standards as other lines, and it just was amazing.
Okay, really that's good to hear. I have only cruised twice, and I have not been that particular. I will not name the cruise line, but it's probably not one of the nicer ones. And so to hear that it's better actually is encouraging.
Yes, it was. My favorites are like Princess, Norwegian, Holland, America.
You can guess mine is not up there with that. The one I was on.
Pretty sure yours. I could guess what yours is, and I don't send people on those ships because I don't want them calling me in the middle of the night complaining.
Yes. We did a cruise. Okay, so Aaron and I have done 2 cruises. One was just the 2 of us. Early after we got married, his parents sent us on it for a graduation gift, and we had a good time, But we said on that cruise, this would be really fun with a lot of friends. And so in 2010, our son Amos came home from Haiti, and it had been like a 3-year journey. And so the only place we traveled in the past 3 years had been to Haiti. And so I was like, okay, I need to get someplace else, right? And so we booked a cruise with a bunch of friends, and it was so much fun.
They're so much fun. You know what I love about cruising is, I love land vacations are my favorite, but I love cruising because it takes a lot of the uncertainty out of it. Like, you don't have to argue where you're going to eat dinner or what time you're going to eat dinner.
Right.
It answers all those questions for you.
Yeah. You're eating at the 5:30 or the 8.
Easy. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're eating here at this particular place that they've told you where you have to eat.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it was fun when we had friends because we could like hang out with them or be alone or do, it was just great. So Highly recommend. Okay, I want to hear about your 3 favorite things and what you're reading. But first, I would be like amiss if I didn't ask you. What people might not know is that your brother, Sean, was the Bachelor a couple years ago.
He was.
That was the last Bachelor I watched until this last one with Ben.
Oh, I watched Ben season 2. I loved Ben.
I did too, but were you as stressed out as I was on the night that he told 2 women that he loved them? Like, literally, my armpit started sweating for him. I was like, what just happened? This is like, I've never seen this go down on Bachelor. And I haven't watched it, like, forever, But I was so nervous for him. Were you nervous for him, or what were you thinking?
Because I've had a sneak peek of behind the scenes of The Bachelor.
Okay, that's probably true.
It makes my perception a little bit different. But I do think they try so hard to make it as authentic as they can. And I think he authentically meant it when he said it.
But then media kind of made it a bigger deal than it was.
Well, and I'm thinking if I'm Lauren, who he picked, I would have been like, why are you telling JoJo you loved her at the same time?
Right.
It's real life, people. That's what people don't understand. This is real life,
Was it hard to watch your brother on TV?
Well, the nice part is I knew how it was going to end before either season began. So that made it
I forgot he was on twice.
Yeah, he was on The Bachelorette and
Oh, I did watch that
and
one
The
too.
Bachelor.
Yeah. Okay. So that made it easier, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I knew both times. I knew like when he was going home on The Bachelorette, and I knew who he was going to pick on The Bachelor. So it made it a lot more fun to watch.
That's awesome. And congratulations on y'all's new baby coming to the family.
I know. I'm so excited.
Ah, so fun. Okay, what are 3 things that you're loving right now?
Okay, I love everything. Aww. But I know, I really do. I try to love everything. I mean, can I just say Netflix? Because I'm in love with Netflix.
Yes.
Okay, just a blanket statement.
Right.
I love Netflix, and I don't exactly know what I did without Netflix.
Oh my gosh,
in my life. Yeah.
No, and what did our kids do before Netflix?
What did my kids do?
Yeah.
It's changed my life. And as shallow as that sounds, I'm going to say I love Netflix.
It's okay. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
Anything. I mean, I'm watching House of Cards. I'm almost done with season 4 of House of Cards. Fuller House. I'm not going to lie. This almost 35-year-old watched every episode of Fuller House.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I just love Netflix. The other day I was watching Frasier on Netflix. When Frasier's on like 5 times a day on regular TV. I was watching Frasier
on Netflix. Yeah.
I
love it. I had some 3 favorite things too that I was going to tell you about. One of mine that I was going to tell you was Friday Night Lights. Did you ever do that?
Yes. Okay. We're in the middle of Friday Night Lights, like 7 seasons. I think we're on season 4. Yes. Okay. We're like halfway through. I'm a big fan of Tim Riggins.
Right. Who isn't? Yeah. So you're loving it.
Loving it.
Okay, so I watched it a couple of years ago. I don't know why. So I had several friends that were always like, Jamie, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. And I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. And then finally I did, but it was during the summer and Aaron was traveling a lot. And so it's like one of those shows that I binge watched without him. Like he never saw any of it, but he's watching it now. And so every once in a while I will jump in with him. And so I'm like reliving it with him. And it's so much fun. I love that show.
So much fun. I love all the characters. I love that show.
Love it so much. I was just telling him, I don't know if you listen to podcasts at all, but there's a guy named Sam Jones that has a podcast called, anyhow, you can find it if you look up Sam Jones. And he had Tammy Taylor. What's her real life name?
Connie Britton.
Connie Britton on. Yes. And it was one of my favorite podcasts that he did because she talked about the filming of Friday Night Lights a lot. So if you're a Friday Night Lights fan, you'd love that episode with Sam Jones and Connie Britton. So. Okay.
I'm writing that down.
So Netflix, what else?
Okay, I just started reading The Battle Plan for Prayer and it's about prayer.
Okay.
It's from the same people that did The War Room. It's such a good book.
Yeah.
It's a book.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, yes, what else are you loving?
Oh goodness. Baseball season's about to start. I'm a huge Red Sox
you love
fan.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah, I love baseball. And so baseball season starts. The Red Sox first game is April 4th. It's like circled and highlighted on my calendar. Cannot wait for baseball season to start.
Okay, so you're like a fan. Like, you know when the first game is. That's not just like you love baseball. Fan. You're a fan. Do you ever go to the stadium?
I do every year.
I thought you were going to say that, yeah.
Yes,
I do. Is it like a family trip or you and your dad or what?
My dad and we go. And my husband's a Yankee fan. So,
yeah.
Yes. So he does not go. But my dad and I go every year and have for years and years. Yeah.
I love that. I love baseball. Not like you love baseball. But I love watching. It's my favorite sport of my kids to watch is baseball. My husband said he'd rather like watch grass grow than baseball. But I think it's so fun.
That's how I am with basketball. I mean, I'll watch the last 30 seconds of a basketball game. But up until then, I feel like it's like, you score, you score, you score, you score. Like,
yeah.
And then like the last 30 seconds, the last person that scores wins.
That's how it works there. Well, sometimes, but yeah, I know.
Yes, but baseball, I love it.
That's awesome. Okay, so I was going to tell you about this. I just am a new customer. Have you heard of Seiko Designs?
No.
Okay, so you're going to check them out because I think that you're going to like them. It seems like it would be like kind of your style as well. Seiko, Liz, the creator, has been on the show before, so if you're listening, you've probably heard her. But I just bought my first pair of their sandals, and they are so comfy and beautiful. But another reason I love them is because it actually like proceeds go back to women in schools in I want to say Uganda, and I'm going to check that out before I put on the show notes. But so Seiko Designs, I got my new sandals for the summer, and they're amazing, and it's a give back program, and I love them. So
okay, spell Seiko for me so that I type it in correctly.
Oh look, I wrote it down. SSEKO.
Thank you.
But but you say it like Seiko.
Okay.
But Liz, I loved her show because she told us the story of how she started the company. So it was a lot of fun. But anyhow, I finally ordered a pair of shoes and love them.
Well, it's almost sandal season. So
I know, right?
That makes me excited too.
Yeah. So you told me a book you're reading. Is that what you were going to say for what you're reading, or are you reading something else?
I read a lot of things. I'm reading that, The Battle Plan for Prayer. And then I am also reading Ellen Hildebrand. I've been reading all of her books. They're just good, easy beach reads. I'm reading The Silver Girl. I try to read about 4 to 6 books a month. I just love to read.
Good for you. So I love to read as well. My months vary based on how many books I get in. Usually when I'm traveling, I get in more. But so I have my last question, and then you and I both have lives to get back to and work and stuff. You're a cookbook author. You are a travel agent, which that's my most favorite thing about you so far. Mom to 3, blogger, like all these kind of things. You travel with your family. You're very intentional with your life. How do you get it all done in a day?
I don't sleep very much.
Is that true? Because I got an email from you this morning at 4. Were you awake?
Yeah, I was awake.
Like I got that email when I woke up at 6:30, and I looked at the time and I thought, well, did she have a sick kid or what's happening? Like, were you really awake?
No, my day begins at about 4 every morning. And, but I'm a morning person. I mean, I know that's kind of being a middle of the night person.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. I keep backing it up. But, I just realized a long time ago that I want to spend as much time as I can with my kids. And in order to get done this other stuff that I love to do and it fulfills me, I'm going to need to do it when my kids are at school or they're sleeping. And, hey, they're sleeping at 4 in the morning. So it's a great time for me to get some stuff done.
Are you functioning then? I mean, you're like awake and working.
I love coffee.
Aww. Do you go to bed super early, or you just can work on less sleep?
I work on less sleep. I go to bed about 10. My dad is the same way. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I could be that way. I'm working on writing a book, and so this is crazy and weird, but I set on my calendar for the next 2 weeks, I set an alarm to get up every morning at 5 and work for an hour and a half before my kids get up. Now,
it's going to change your life. It's going to change your life.
I'm going to need a little bit more encouragement because I'm failing. And so I told Aaron the other day, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, am I setting false expectations for myself? You love the morning. Did you always love it, or did you work into it?
No, I've always been a morning person.
Because I'm not loving it. Like, I've literally met that goal twice in 2 weeks. And so I'm either failing or I need to readjust my expectations.
Well, I'm funny. Because I have a whole, like, routine. Like, I light a candle, I turn on my French music, I get my coffee. Like, it's a whole experience. And then I sit down. Like, I create this whole experience every morning, so it makes it enjoyable. I have a fuzzy blanket that I put on my lap while I'm working. Yeah.
And so you're just like in this routine, and that's when you get stuff done.
That's when I get stuff done. And I'm addicted to it now. If you took it away from me, I would miss
You're like, what do I do?
Hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good. Okay, Shay, I have loved talking with you today. It's been so much fun.
Jamie, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on and talking about your parenting journey and adoption and Disney Cruise Lines and all kinds of things. So it's just been the best.
Thank you. I've been so happy to be here to share with you guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, do you have anything coming up soon that's releasing, or is everything released? Do you have anything you're looking forward to?
Oh, I mean, I have lots I'm looking forward to.
I want to hear that too, but I meant like publishing-wise. Do you have any books coming out?
September 1st, my big book called Eats comes out, and so that's exciting. It's a comprehensive, just big old cookbook. Comes out September 1st.
So it's a cookbook as well.
It is.
Okay. I love it, love it. Yay. Okay, well, we will look forward to that, and anything we talked about today, I'm put up in the show notes so everyone will be able to find it. Shay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Wasn't Shay awesome? That was my first time to meet her, and I just had a blast getting to know her and her family and her adoption story and her story of infertility. If you liked it, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment over on the show notes or a comment on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you think about the show. Hey guys, I also want to thank another one of today's sponsor for the happy hour, and that is Camp Well. Camp Well was launched by Jen Sprinkle and Kelly Rucker, and what it is designed for, it's for the woman who needs a break from the busy in her life to rest and refocus on the big dreams that she has in life, ministry, and business. When Jen and Kelly developed this, they knew that they wanted to create a space where women could come together and they could reflect and refocus and rest in the midst of our busy lives. We dream such big dreams and we try to do it all, and oftentimes we get distracted, and of course we become very weary. So there comes Camp Well. It's a 4-day faith-filled venture for dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs, and it's in Denver, Colorado this year from September 18th through 21st. It's limited to about 30 campers, and there's a few spots left. I just bought my ticket. I'm super excited about what this is offering for me, myself. They're offering our Happy Hour listeners $100 off with the code Happy Hour. So head to campwellsummit.com for more details, or follow them on Instagram at Camp Well Summit. And you're going to get $100 off with the code Happy Hour. And if you can't remember this, go to my blog, jamieivey.com, and there'll be more information there. And I just want to invite you to join us for this week of workshops and breakout sessions and one-on-one mentor sessions, all in the beautiful city of Denver. Thank you, Camp Well. Guys, today's show was edited by Knox McCoy, and the music is by Jason Poe. Next week's guest is Joe Saxton, and you're going to love my conversation with Joe. We talk a lot about what does discipleship look like within our families and within the church. We talk about bikinis, believe it or not. And then I love the answers to her questions of what is so American that she finds, because she's British. She's lived here almost 12 years. So, guys, thanks for listening. Enjoy your day and have a happy hour with a friend.